Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is HAIKUN. Now we're going to talk about the topic is a statistic research on the effects of a student's sleep schedule and during movement control order. Our group are conducting this research is due to the outbreak of coronavirus 19. We are all affected by this pandemic. This is a difficult time for all of us. For us students, we have to stop normal classes in order to stop the spread of the virus. We divide the presentation into several parts, which include introduction and problem statement, and hypothesis and method, and data analysis, and also include conclusion and recommendation. For introduction part, the coronavirus 19 has forced the government to impose the movement control order in order to break the chains of infection. As our students, we have various reasons for staying up later. It could be school-related activities, social media, or have fun on their video games, and now there may be another factor that affects our sleep. We want to know how the movement control order affects the sleep schedule of students in IUM, and is it positive or negative. So we are conducting this research to see whether the movement control order affects the sleep time of students. And that's all for me. Let's move to the next member.
The problem statement for our survey is: does self-quarantine affect sleeping hours? Self-quarantine means that a lot of changes is required in the way we live our daily lives. Some students can adjust their time very well and have no effect to their daily schedule. Others have trouble doing so, and it affects their sleeping time. Our hypothesis is that students sleep less and later during self-quarantine than before the announcement of the movement control order. This hypothesis is based on these bases. Students are sleeping late because they don't feel rushed when they can have live class at home instead of having to go to the classroom. Effectively, they can do whatever activities they like before going to sleep because it doesn't matter. Even if they wake up late, they can still attend class as usual.
So, some introduction to the methods and data we use. Most of our data is collected based on the students from IUM, both locally and international. Though our survey is open to all kuliah, most of our respondents are from KICT because we send the survey into the KICT WhatsApp group. All the data collected is from the survey that we create using Google Form. Next, all the questions asked is related to their sleeping pattern before MCO and during MCO. There are exactly 40 respondents, including both local and international students. We use inferential statistic method to calculate our data, in which we use a random sample instead of the whole population. From the data we get, we use variance and standard deviation to ensure the consistency of the data and the spread of the data. We also use Chebyshev's theorem to make sure all the data collected falls within the specified interval and the data collected is correct.
Here we can see the frequency of students' bedtime before and during MCO period. Before MCO started, the respondents, which are students, on average slept at 12:27 am, with most of them slept at 12 am. But keep in mind, the data we have collected to calculate all of these values are taken in the interval of every 30 minutes, meaning example of data could be 10 pm, 10:30 pm, 11 pm, 11:30 pm, so on and so forth. Meanwhile, bedtime during MCO on average, students had slept at 1:25 am, while most of them slept at 1 am. From here, we can calculate the difference of bedtime before and during MCO. So we have calculated the difference of each respondent's data between their before and during bedtime. And we have found that the average difference is 47 minutes. This value shows that our calculation here conforms to the previously shown values. And the mode here is 1 hour, meaning for most students, have a 1 hour bedtime difference before and during the MCO period. The standard deviation shows how our data dispersed, meaning for each data, the average distance or difference to the data mean is 2.391 hours. The shape of the histogram suggests that the data is skewed to the left. We also collected the students' hour of sleep during the movement control order period, with the average sleep duration is 6.375 hours. Meanwhile, most of them slept for the duration of 8 hours. Here is a pie chart that shows the reason of why students sleep late. The reasons are categorized into 3 simple categories. Due to the current academic situations, most students aren't taking face-to-face classes. There are also some students that are taking online classes at their home. So these are the factors that affect our categorization. The chart depicts that more than half of the respondents stated entertainment as the reason for sleeping late, while 31% are due to online classes or assignments, and 15% are due to reasons that aren't suitable in the other two categories. The reason could be house chores or anything that isn't related to online classes and entertainment.
So there are a few limitations and weaknesses that we have in our study. First, it's a very small amount of responses due to time constraint. We only get 2 weeks of collecting our data and there's not a lot of people and it's only 40 responses. And second, it's not enough exposure to cover all our IMM students and possibly other group of kuliah because we spread the survey only among KICT students. And we actually spread the survey in the main group, but not all of them are actually answering our question. And third, it might be biased within the circle of friends when spreading the survey link. We asked the people to spread the survey among their friends, and maybe they might have the same background and personality among their friends, and probably they have the same opinion. And fourth, we should ask hour of sleep before MCO as well, because we only collected the hours of sleep during MCO but not before. And it would be great if we create a relationship between the hours of sleep before MCO and after the MCO. In conclusion, we can say that the students went to sleep earlier before the MCO if compared to during MCO. From calculation, on average, students slept at 12:27 AM before MCO, and during MCO, the average have shifted to the right, with the students sleeping an hour late at 1:25 AM. According to the data collected, most students sleep around 12 AM before MCO and 1 AM during MCO. Pandemic and this COVID-19 would end soon. For recommendation in the future of a similar research, we would recommend the researchers to target a bigger audience, preferably from more kuliah. We also recommend to ask the respondents if they stay on campus or off campus, because sometimes living at home may affect the sleeping schedule of a person more than if they stay in mahalah. Lastly, we also recommend to state how many hours they sleep before MCO and after MCO. This will get us a more specific result.